you just do a quick highlight recap, just in case the agents weren't on last week's call?
Oh,
Or,
so
not last week, last month.
yeah, last month in February, we did a the call was about research, or excuse me, about square footage and the importance of square footage, and or just how the appraisers look at that, and how a realtor can take the tax card information to a property that you're going to list, and how to read those codes and stuff. And then
Yep.
this time I was going to talk about research, and I just have found a pretty standard neighborhood that I was going to use and show you guys how an appraiser or even a realtor would pull comps and get ready for a listing presentation, or how an appraiser would get ready for an appraisal.
That's awesome. And by the way, I used what you taught us. There was a property that had a single family home with an auxiliary dwelling unit on it, and the listing agent combined the square footage for the single family home and that. So made the people think it was 2,200 square feet, but it actually, the single family home was only like 1,380 square feet. And then you had to count the auxiliary dwelling unit separate from that. So, but they put it on the MLS as 2,200.
Yeah, and that does happen a lot. It's that, not that it's necessarily wrong. I mean, it does have 2,200 or so of living space, with that combination. But as an appraiser, if it's finished in a different manner and it's detached, it's typically going to be separated out in the grid, and that's how you have to break it down. Might end up in the same value, the same number as the agent did when they listed it that way, but it's getting down to those details about how we have to break those figures down.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead, and for the agents that are here and anybody that has access to MLS, if you want to go ahead and just pull that up, and pull up the Hillsborough County tax card, the property appraiser's website. So it's, I'm sure everybody knows how to get to that, but I'm going to share my screen now. So do you see the Hillsborough County tax card right now?
Yep.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what to do if you are going on a listing presentation and you're going to list this house and you're going to sell this house, or you are an appraiser and you're going to go appraise this property. Okay, so the address is 12840 on Tar Flower. So go ahead and find that in the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser's website. And then you will also want to find that on the MLS. Hang on. Okay, so this property was a lease at one point, and it's got a couple sales in here. So I'm going to find out the most recent one, and I'm just assuming that you guys do not know this person. You've never been to the house, and it's a referral, and you're going to go and you're going to list the property. So you want to find the most recent listing on the house, and I'd like to do all this research on the front end, and then you've got a really good idea of what you have when you're going to the property. So here's the house. I know the house very well, so this is why I'm using this one, but it sold back in 2015 for $313. Shows it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath in Westwood Lakes. Okay, you see how I'm highlighting all this stuff as I'm going, guys?
Yes, we see that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to go look at the pictures and see what we have. And it still looks very similar to this today. It's 9 years ago when they purchased, but it's very similar to what we have here now. Nothing's been changed really in the kitchen. Have a big screen enclosed porch there. It's a 3-bedroom with a den, but the den could serve as a bedroom. So it is an actual 4-bedroom. Has a super deep lot with preserve behind it. Big screen enclosed porch. It's really well maintained. Lots of great landscaping now. And so when I get ready to go on a house, though, I always, when I call the owner, I'm going to talk to them about these details that I see. So I'm going to ask, tell me about your room count. It shows that you're about 1,900 square feet. Tell me about that. Have you changed anything? Have you converted the garage? Have you added any square footage that's not showing up yet, since that was 9 years ago? Then I'm going to look at the tax card. Okay. And you can see from their map that they're on those woods that we talked about. There's their little bit of a pie shape on their lot. These are their assessments here. And this is their purchase from 9 years ago for $314. And here's their sketch. So another thing an appraiser will always do is take this with them. I always do this so that I'm going to measure the house when I'm there to confirm the square footage. But I am also going to take what the tax card has, because I want to know where the differences are, if in fact there are some differences in the dwelling size. So great thing is just to click on this and then right click and copy this image, and you can cut it and put it into Paint or however you do your, whatever place you need to paste this so that you can take it with you. But it is a great tool to take with you to walk through the house when you get there. It shows you this is the finished garage, FGR. This is the finished screen porch, FSP. This is the base. It's all one floor. This says 1886 is the square footage, just about what the listing had. So you take this with you, and an appraiser is going to walk around the house and measure all these walls and make sure they're exactly the same as what the tax card has. And I know this one, it is the same, it is accurate. Anyway, take that with you, print the tax card, take that with you. And so if there's anything that that you don't feel like you know enough about when you're talking to that owner before you get there, you can ask those questions. I mean, you've got a lot of information here, but you may want to say, one thing we're observing is that there's no pool. There's only a fireplace down here, and a pool would be listed as an extra feature. So maybe they've added the pool. I know that they haven't, but you're going to ask that question. So anyway, you're going to go back in here to your listing and take this one with you. And then you can be able to talk intelligently with the owner about what's here. You've never seen it and you don't know who he is, but you're going to be able to get into some of these details and see what kind of flooring he has, what kind of flooring he had back then. If you see tile and carpet in the house in the picture and you get there and it's wood now, that's been done since it was purchased 9 years ago. And that gives you the opportunity to find out what else is new, but at least you're paying attention to what it was and what it is now. So another thing that we do, am I going too fast, guys, or are we good?
Good.
Okay. So now I want to talk about what the trend is. I'm going to find out the trend before I go. This is a good thing to do right now, especially since we've had such crazy ups and downs in the market. But an appraiser has to get extremely micro, kind of in that neighborhood, and find out exactly what's going on right there. And not just all of Hillsborough County, but I want to know what's happening in Westwood Lakes. I want to find out if that's going up, down, or if it's stable. And so the quick way to do that is to go back to your criteria, and you're going to clear out everything that you have here. So now you don't have anything there, and you're going to go and you're going to look at what's happened in the last year in Westwood Lakes. So you're going to hit sold, go back 365 days. Okay. You're in Hillsborough County, put that in. And then your legal description, you're going to put Westwood Lakes. Instead of putting Lakes, L-A-K-E-S, I just put L, because if an agent has accidentally put it in as L-K-S, or they spelled Lakes out, some didn't, somebody just put Westwood, and you put it in there exactly the way it's supposed to be, you're going to miss what they put in as a mistake. So I just put Westwood. There's no other Westwood in Hillsborough County. Okay, so keep it like that. And then your house is about 1,900 square feet. So a Fannie Mae's requirement is about a 20% variance on that square footage. So let's just say you're at 1,900, and 20% variance on that would be about 380 feet on either side. So let's say 380 plus 1,900 is about 2,280 on the top end. And then on the bottom end, it would be 1,520. So a reasonable range for square footage for what's comparable to you would be a house that's anywhere from 1,520 square feet to 2,280 square feet. Those are comparable to you in terms of the lending world. But I happen to know that in that neighborhood, not much close in those tight parameters of square footage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna increase it just a bit on the high end. So I'm just gonna say 1,500 square feet here. And I'm gonna go up as much as 2,400. Okay, everybody see that?
Yeah.
So now you're looking for homes that have sold in Westwood Lakes that are about that square footage in the last year. Hang on. Sorry, Westwood L. Okay, so now you got 12 sales in the last year in Westwood Lakes in this size range. You want to assume that none of them are short sales or foreclosures, and they're not. They're still at 12. So if you hit results, you can, all these will pop up. You want to put them all on one page. Okay, so now you can see these are all the sales from the last 365 days, and they go anywhere from 470 all the way up to 730. Okay, so let's just find the trend. Now we know we have all these sales to look at and pick from, but let's hit the trend. So you're going to hit mark them all, check them all, and go down to print, and then hit MC, and that stands for market conditions. Okay, so it's going to show us what the trend is doing, and then you hit print to PDF. Okay, and this is going to generate a breakdown in, you know, like 6-month increment here, and then 90 days and 90 days. So this is
all you need to be a good appraiser. Just kidding.
this is all you need. Stop here. Yeah, so you can see the last prior to 7 months, the average median price was 545. Then it went up to 575 over the summer. Then it went up to 601. So this is an obvious increase in the property values. You see that you had 4 sales in this 6-month period. Then you had 5 sales in this quarter, 3 sales in this quarter. So you have a representative number to be able to conclude that this is increasing in this neighborhood. 545, 575, and 601. Okay, so you have some data to share with the owner that you've determined that it's pretty much increasing in there in his square footage range. Now, if you go back, cut that out, and then you go back to your search, and you're going to change your criteria. If you go back to criteria and you get rid of that square footage, and you find out exactly what's going on in the neighborhood, you don't care whether it's comparable to you or not. You're actually at 18 sales now. So I want to find out, is that trend the same for all of the properties, or is it just the same on my square footage range? So now you're at 18 sales. Hit those results again and click them all, and then come down to print and hit MC, print to PDF. Okay, now you've got 615, 575, and 613. So now you're showing it's stable. So the appraiser could mark it increasing. The appraiser may use this type and mark it stable. So you're probably safe saying that it's stable. I don't know too many places that are going up right now. They've leveled off a lot to almost coming down. So nonetheless, you've done a search 2 different ways. So you can intelligently talk to the owner about you're either going up or you're staying the same. But it's going to help you on how you're going to price it. You see what I mean? So get back out of that. And as far as you're getting now, and you're going to get into the details of exactly which properties are you're going to use to establish the value and to establish your list price. So we're going to go back to criteria. And now you're not going to go back that far. You're not using any comps that sold, you're not using things from a year ago. You have too many properties within the last 90 days. And as an appraiser, you need to stay, you only go back as far as you absolutely have to. And when this kind of market is happening, you need to stay where, you need to stay really tight in those time parameters as opposed to going way back in time. So nonetheless, let's go back 90 days. Okay, so you've got 4 sales in 90 days. All right, and now another little thing too, before I go there, I want to look at the inventory and see what your competition is before you get ready to list. So I'm going to go to active and pending. Okay, so I've got 4 that are active and pending in the whole community. But again, we don't have our square footage on. So let's put that back. Sorry. What did I say? About 1,500 to about, what did we say, 2,400?
Yes.
Okay, so you have 2 that are active and pending. All right. That seems wrong, but let's try that. So you got 2. They're both under contract. So there's no competition for you. These 2, if somebody wants to move into Westwood Lakes right now, they're the 2 in their square footage range that you're comparing, there's no inventory. They're already gone. These 2 are going to close in the next couple of weeks. So let's just go and see what else is available in there. Get rid of your square footage. And now you're up to 4 on your inventory. The only problem is these 4 are really big. These 2 others are really big homes. They're 2,800 and 2,800, and they're in the 789 range. So I mean, they're like almost 800,000, and they're active. They're not pending. They're active. So this was an interesting observation. Is that these 2 that are pending, their prices are $490 and $595. So that's really a big jump between that and the almost 800,000 ones. So I don't know whether these 800,000s are just a bit overpriced, or these are just, and they had to, if you want to sell, you've got to lower your home price in there. I don't know, but I want to go over here and I'm going to look at the number of days on the market. So these 2 at the top, they were 2 and 4 days. These 2 are 27 and 87 days. So this could tell us that those are just priced too high. They're not priced to sell. They're sitting around a little bit longer because they're overpriced. Okay, so that's going to help you a bit. But nonetheless, if you want to move into Westwood Lakes, you're either going to spend almost 8 or you're going to not have a house, because these 2 are going to be gone in the next couple of weeks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so if you go back, get rid of your pending, now you've established what your inventory is, and you're going to hit your solds. You're going to find out what happened in the last 90 days. This thing is kind of in the way, isn't it?
Quick question.
Yes.
I noticed the other 2 that were the highest ones are the ones that had pools. Do you
Yes.
do it even with the ones that have pools? You don't exclude the ones that have pools yet?
No, you're going to try to find houses that don't have pools, but if you go back and I was probably should have pulled those up anyway, but
And so the subject property doesn't have a pool.
it doesn't have a pool. It just has a porch in the back. But you can use a pool home comp. That's not a problem. You just, you want to find out how that market responds to a pool in there. And if you pull enough pool home sales, you can go back to your criteria and just put that you just want pools, and you'll be able to see kind of how much the price is for that property with a pool. I mean, how much the pool provides, how much it contributes to the value. That'll give you an idea of how much you should deduct whenever you use a pool home comp, right? So these 2 that you're talking about on these actives, this one it's got a 3-car, it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, it's 2,800 square feet. So if you just do a quick search on your photos, kind of a different animal. I mean, 3-car, really bigger lot, pool, wider lot, I should say. No view, but a wider site. But yeah, definitely a pool. It's better home on the inside. It's probably better condition than this one, but it's got a bonus probably upstairs. There's your bonus room, 3-car garage. I mean, this, in terms of being comparable to you, you're only 1,900 square feet. This is 28. It's just not even, the same buyer is not shopping for that home that's buying your house. You know what I mean? It's just an observation for you. And it's typically the owners know, like when you go see this when you go see the subject property, the owners know typically, oh, there's a house on Tarflower for $789. So I figure I should be at least 600. Well, that's not the way it goes. You just, you can't take a house that's not like your property at all and figure out what your value is. You need to find like properties and then find what the value is from there. So you exclude these types of homes because they're so not similar. But it's just an observation for you to know what's listed in there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go back to criteria. Now we're going to get down to the sale activity. So get rid of that inventory, go back 90 days on your time, and we're going to put that square footage back on. Oh, geez. So what did I say? 1,500 to 2,400.
2,400, yep.
All right. So now you have 3 sales from the last 90 days. Okay. So you're going to pull these up. Okay. So here we go. Here's their square footage. Here's what they sold for. Here's their dates. Close date. The most recent one is this top one. So that one you really want to pay attention to because it's the most recent sale. These other 2, they're about to be dated sales because they sold in January. So in another couple of weeks are going to be 90 days old. And those 2 pendings that you saw are going to be your next comps. Does that make sense? Those 2 pendings that we looked at, that one plus this top one, because it just closed in March, those will be your next 3 sales to consider. But for now, they haven't closed yet. So you're looking at these 3. Okay, so this first one's 1,900 square feet, just like you, 4.2, just like you, sold for $550. So let's go pull this one up. Do a quick search on the photographs, same view, really similar condition, similar layout, might be actually the same floor plan now that I'm looking at it. Kitchen is a little bit less updated than the one that we're looking at. I just know that, but looks like original appliances. Okay, so you're just kind of observing how it looks compared to what you have. So based on just raw numbers, it fits right into what you've got. Same view, porch in the back, same room count, and same square footage. That is a great comp, and it sold for $550. So that's really low though in comparison to what that MC form was showing. So just an observation, just look at it. But it sold after 1 month, 30 days on the market. Okay. You can come down here and find out if there was anything unusual about the sale at the bottom. Listed in February, sold in March. This is where all that stuff will tell you about what happened with the property, anything unusual that you need to know about. Doesn't look like anything too weird. So nonetheless, low or not, it has to be used as a comparable because it's the most recent sale in the neighborhood, and it doesn't appear to be short, doesn't appear to be foreclosure, doesn't have a sinkhole. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So you can look at these attachments in here and see the seller's property disclosure. You could pull that up and see when the roof was done. If it's an original roof, maybe, that might be something why it was so low. So you're just paying attention, right? You're just looking at it. And then what I do as an appraiser, I print this or find a way to take this sale with you. And then you go by and look at it on the way to the house. Then you can see it from the outside at least and find out what it looks like compared to you. All right, so there's corkwood. Then the next one down is this one here. And I happen to know this house. It was on the market for 329 days. So that's like a really long time. I mean, it started on the market in 2022. So not sure what happened, but it was, if you want to find out a little bit more of the details on it, you can come to the bottom and look at the history. Okay. So it's decreased, back on the market, decreased, temporarily off the market. It's been all over the place. It started at 675, went down, 664, 639, 595, 595. So I don't know what happened, but it appears that it was overpriced in the beginning. and it just hung out for a long time and finally ended up closing at 601. Okay, so it's a 2-story, a little bit of a different environment preference there, but nonetheless, it's vacant by this point, or it might have been vacant the whole time. I'm not sure what the problem was. Maybe it just didn't show well. But anyway, it's probably based on that square footage, it's not a very good final sale price because it's almost 2,400 square feet and it only went for 601. So this is kind of showing me that you're almost getting towards a decline. You see where I'm at? So anyway, that's 2,300 square feet. You know, you might be able to kick that one out because it is so long on the market and it just had so much unusual exposure, so much extra time that it's really not the best comparable for you. Plus it's a 2-story, you're a 1-story. It's a lot bigger. But anyway, it's what happened. It's sold in the neighborhood. You got to go look at it. You got to look at it, you know, give it some consideration. And then this last one on Blazing Star. Okay, this one looks pretty sweet. So this sold in January for 6.25. Lots of language in here about highest and best due, so might have had a lot of buzz about the property. It's on the market for 8 days, pretty fast. So let's see, I can see from the photographs, it looks pretty nice. And it's got a pool. So, and it looks really updated. Okay. That's not original. We know that. Updated bathrooms, really nice landscaping, great view, big porch. I would have thought that that would have closed higher based on that MC form that we did at the very beginning, but it only went for 6.25 and it's got a pool and it's a lot better condition than the house that we're looking at. So anyway, you can go through all those pictures, but you get the idea that it's 6.25 for a pool home. That's basically the same size property as what we have. We're at 1,900, that's at 1,800. So let's go down the bottom, see if anything happened unusual about this one. It was cash. So maybe it was a little bit lower because of that. It seems just like it's kind of low, but it's showing me that we're almost going down. We were increasing to stable, but now we're almost look like we're leveling off a bit in this first quarter of 2024 based on these 3 sales. So the only saving grace for you though would be that one, the 2 that are pending. Okay. And one of them is on Leatherleaf and it's about the same size as you and it's listed at $595. So based on those 3 sales we just looked at, $595 would be a little bit high, but it's a nod to the lack of inventory. So this one is pending at $595, same size, and it's closing on 4/12. So from a listing standpoint, it's a really good indicator of where you could put your property to list. Okay, because there's no inventory. So this is now vacant. It's been virtually staged. Really similar square footage. It's a better kitchen than we have though. It's updated. That's not original. Looks new lighting, new flooring, really well maintained. So, you know, it would be reasonable for you probably to assume too that it's going to sell close to that $595. I know we're getting late on time, but I just was going to say that originally when I did the MC form, I could see that the average sale price to list price ratio in Westwood Lakes in the last 90 days was right at 100%. Some sold at 98%, some sold at 102%, but the average was about 100. So you can assume that it's going to land close to that $595. Okay, it's probably going to be, let's just say it's $590. And it's just a little bigger than your house, right? And a little bit better. Maybe you're looking at about $575 for the subject property by the time you knock off a little bit for that condition.
So what would you, as we wrap up here, so what would you list this for? So if you were the listing agent, what would you list the subject property for?
Okay, so let's go back to that, the other one that's inventory or pending, I mean. This is way down. This is 490. And this is closing too. Since it's pending, it's going to be closing. So let's find out a little bit about that one. Now that's really small. It's almost too small. 1,500 square feet compared to you at 19 is a big, almost too big to be comparable, but it's going to be the next sale in there. So you got to look at it. So if you go down here, you can see it's closing on the 19th. Okay. And let's look at it real quick. Looks really nice. Good view. And a little cul-de-sac. You know, that's not original. That's been updated. So that's only 490. So maybe that sells higher than it's listed for, but totally redone. Nice porch in the back, great view. You can see all these, some of the windows look new, the doors look new. So, you know, you got that high one at 595, and then you got this one really, really low. So, you know, you may want to say 575 for a list.
Hey, Cheryl, for the next time you're on, do you think this would be like this same property would be a good example to go over and show them how you would do adjustments as an appraiser? Like how much you would adjust for like if you were using a comp with a pool, how much you would adjust for the square footage? Do you think that would be important to the realtors on the call?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. I was trying to think about how I could maybe pull up one of the appraisal grids just to show you how those numbers fit in our system, you know, so I'll try to work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. Does anybody have any questions before we jump off the call?
What is the minimum number of comparables that you need to have to make an assessment?
Well, Fannie Mae's going to require 3, you know, and some lenders require 4 or 3 comps and a listing, or 3 sales and a pending, you know, something like that. But you need to have, you know, at least 3, you know, because you might want to kick out any of the weird outliers, you know, if one's just super low or super high and it doesn't appear to be representative of the actual market, and you can find out some evidence that it sold low or sold too high or whatever, then you may want to kick it out and you're just trying to find a reasonable pool of buyers that did something similar. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say in this case, there's very few comparables. Would you expand the distance of how far out you would go, or would you, I know you really can't do the date because the market's changing so much, but would you just expand it out?
Yeah, I mean, you could do, you know, you could go back 120 days, you know, and you had 3 and now you've got 5.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely, you could do that. I mean, I was keeping it kind of tight for just.
Oh yeah, no, I understand.
But no, absolutely, you could go back a little bit, and that would be, looks like these 2 right here were the new ones. This one on Blazing Star sold in December. So definitely you could use that, sold for 575. But it has a pool.
Right.
And so it's just it's weird because now it's looking like now a home with a pool only sold for 575. So, but it has no view. Doesn't look like it has much of a view. So maybe there's something there. Maybe it just slants down. It's a really tight woods view. It's pretty average pool. But yeah, you could absolutely go back and go back in time. And then if you find out that the market had been declining in that last 90-day period, then you would make an adjustment for the time. You would observe the difference in the market between those time periods, and that would be your adjustment figure for that time difference. But you could go back and you could get into another neighborhood. You know, this neighborhood of Westwood Lakes is, you know, here's shows you where we are. and the next thing up is the Eagles. And then you've got Water Chase, you know, and you got to find out which one you would pull from. This is a gated golf course community. This is much higher priced homes, different quality. So it's not too many places you can go right around there that would be comparable. So in this case, you may want to just go back in time and stay in Westwood Lakes.
Gotcha.
And unless you're just in an, if you're just in an increasing market where it's just going up like mad, or it's going down like mad, and you need to really stay tight on your time parameters, then you would stay 30 days and pick from wherever you had to. You see what I
Gotcha.
mean? You got to find
Yeah,
out
yeah.
what your trigger is. Is your trigger a big increase? Not really. I mean, we're kind of stable there. So stay in your neighborhood in this
Okay,
case.
that's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's good. And thank you for showing the MC. I never really used that. So thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Cheryl, this is awesome. So yeah, I would say next time, if you could just show how, like, you know, maybe they could get an idea for, like, against, like, if they need to, if they would want to get into adjusting for the square footage adjustments or pool, or how updated it is compared to the other, if you could just kind of like, yeah, maybe show it from the appraiser's eyes and give them an idea of maybe what they should do as well too.
Okay, awesome. Sure.
Okay, this is awesome. Thank you.